What's up guys, this is Bo with Tech Paintball. In this video I'm going to shoot you a quick installation of the TechT Zero Kick Hammer. I've gone ahead and removed my cyclone housing and my barrel and shroud for ease of use. The first thing that we're going to need to do is tighten our velocity adjustment screw all the way in past the clamshell of the body so that we can slide our power tube out. Now you got to be able to look down into the hole and see if it's past the clamshell. The next thing that we need to do is remove the 4 pins that hold the back cap and the grip frame on. Those would be the 2 pins in the very rear and the 2 pins at the front of the grip frame and just above the clip. Be sure you hold your hand on the rear clip so that when you remove this last pin, the spring pressure doesn't shoot off all of these parts. Next, we can remove that back cap and the spring and spring guide. We can also go ahead and pull our grip frame away from the gun. We can remove the clip. Next we need to remove this clip housing, and you do so by pushing this housing towards the grip frame after you've already removed the grip frame. Once you've done that, you should be able to slide your tombstone out. Slide everything off to the side. Now we have just the pieces that we need to install the hammer. Next you want to flip the gun upside down like this, and you want to grab something such as the Allen wrench that you use to tighten down your velocity screw in order to pull everything out of the back. The first thing you're going to do is just reach down there and grab the slot for the hammer that you see there, and you can just begin to push those out the back. Once you get the hammer far enough out to get your hand on it, you can grab it and pull this out. If you begin to pull this and notice that there's a lot of tension on it, you may want to go back to the first step that we did, which was tightening down the velocity adjustment screw. If this velocity adjustment screw is not tightened all the way down, it will drag against the inside of the body, scratching the inside of the body and causing a lot of problems for it to come out. But we've already tightened our velocity screw in far enough to where we can pull this straight out of the back. So now I'm just going to grab my hammer, I'm going to very gently begin to pull everything out of the back, like so. Once you've gotten everything out, you can go ahead and pull the power tube and everything out. And now you can set your body off to the side. The installation is very simple. The only thing that you have to do is replace your old hammer with the new hammer and new spring. So the first thing that we're going to do is grease our new hammer, and I'm going to use some TechT gun salve. You're going to go ahead and grease the entire outside surface of the hammer. You don't necessarily want to grease this slot where the sear catches, but anywhere else you can grease. Be sure you grease the O-ring on the front. Next, although most people don't do it, I like to grease the outside of my power tube housing. That's going to make it much easier to disassemble next time you assembled it. If you notice, it was very easy for me to pull the power tube out of the gun, and that's because I was the last person to take this gun apart, and I greased this power tube housing, making it very easy to slide out. So you can take a light layer of grease and put it on your power tube housing as well, and that's just going to solve a lot of headaches in the future. The next thing we're going to do is reinstall everything. I also like to grease my linkage arm a little bit. It's also a moving piece. I'm going to go ahead and remove my spring and spring guide from my new TechT bolt. Now I need to just reinstall everything. Take your linkage arm and plug it into the hole at the top of the bolt, and you can go ahead and start to slide that into the gun. The hole at the bottom of the power tube housing should be facing directly down, or else you're not going to be able to install it. Once you have the power tube setting into the back of the gun, you can grab your hammer and line up the hole that's on top of it with your linkage arm. Now this next step is the most important step of the installation process. If you take your hand and just push on this and push everything in, you're going to push your valve stem through and knock this O-ring and seat out, which is going to be a pain to get back in when you try and reinstall your tombstone. So don't just grab this and slam everything in, or else you're going to have a lot of headaches in the future. At first you can push from just the power tube, being sure not to press on the actual valve stem, but just the power tube. And this is where greasing the power tube becomes beneficial. Next, you want to take your same Allen wrench and you can reach in and begin to press your power tube forward. Again, if this is hard to do, be sure that your velocity adjustment screw is screwed in all the way. You run the potential of cracking your power tube housing if you push from the very back. The very back is where the hammer has to seal with the power tube in order to gain pressure to recock. So push up here in the slot where the tombstone goes for as long as you can, and then when you can't reach that anymore, then you can push back here. You just push that all the way forward until it stops. Next, we need to drop our spring and spring guide in, which go very easily. And now we just need to put everything back on. I'm going to start off with my tombstone. And because we are very careful with installing our power tube, our tombstone seat and O-ring are still in there the way that they should be. If you have pushed your hammer in and pressed the valve and popped this off, you're going to have to take a pick and reinsert that O-ring and reseat the seat. But since we are careful in doing so, we don't have to do that. So we're going to put our tombstone in, slide our clip back down. The button on the clip should be facing the rear of the gun or towards the grip frame. We're going to line that up and push it back towards the front of the gun. Next, we want to line our grip frame back up and just slide it on. I'm going to go ahead and put these two pins back in. My grip frame pin being the first one, and my tombstone pin being the second. Next, I'm going to reinstall my back cap. Be sure that you grab your old spring guide from the spring and reinstall it as well. Slides inside the spring. The back cap only has one way that it can go on. Reinstall these two pins. Now we can reinstall our clip as well. And that's the total installation of the TechT Zero Kick Hammer. Thanks for watching.